China's real estate market continues to slump. With sales plummeting and the market sluggish, recently many cities in China have come up with various promotional policies, and all kinds of strange house-selling tricks have been launched. The Jianye residential project in Qiyi County, Henan Province, launched a campaign of exchanging garlic for apartment units, unit price 5 yuan per caddy on May 22nd. To explain, the weight of one caddy unit in China is 500 grams. Another residential project in Shangqiu City, Henan Province, offered 2 yuan per caddy of wheat, up to 160,000 RMB. They are purchasing wheat at a higher price, so buyers can essentially use food to pay for the down payment. At present, the market price of wheat and garlic is around 1.5 yuan per caddy. Based on this price, the wheat for housing conversion can get you a discount of 40,000 yuan, and the garlic for housing conversion can get you a maximum discount of 70,000 yuan. However, both of these activities have been suspended. On June 28th, Nanjing's Xincheng Yunyang Binjiang project launched another watermelon for apartment unit activity, up to 100,000 yuan. The purchase of watermelons at 10 yuan per caddy, capped at 10,000 caddies per suite, can offset a maximum of 100,000 yuan. The current market price of watermelons is 2.5 to 4 yuan per caddy. The project of Shuimu Fanghua in Lianyungang City, Jiangsu Province, is offering a 200 caddy pig for free when you buy an apartment unit on June 18th to 19th. Even with a note saying slaughtering included. In addition, there are also a number of preferential policies, such as gifts for house viewing and getting a commission of 10,000 yuan for selling a unit. In addition to the fancy promotions done by developers, various local governments have also made surprising moves to stimulate the property market. In addition to loosening the property market regulation policies of restricting purchases and sales, they have also introduced policies such as job gifting and house voucher. In order to encourage farmers to buy homes in the city, the town of Yulin in Guangxi Province launched 10 policies, such as giving jobs for purchasing sweets, financial subsidies, arranging children's schooling, and discounts on home appliances and building materials. Zhengzhou City in Henan Province, Zhangjiagang City in Jiangsu Province, and Nanjing City in Jiangsu Province have successfully introduced a method of implementing housing voucher resettlement in shanty town renovation projects. The house voucher policy means that when the government demolishes the apartment building, only a part of the compensation will be paid directly, and the rest will be paid with the face value of the house voucher. The demolished households can use the house voucher to offset the house payment when they buy a new house. The voucher is valid for 3 months and will expire if the evictee does not purchase an apartment unit. The housing voucher is considered a major way for the government to boost demand in the real estate market and speed up property transactions. Officials are even trying to control the people who do not buy houses. The Xuejiadao Street office in the new West Coast area of Qingdao City, Shandong Province, issued a notice on promoting residents' purchase of new housing, requiring that by the end of June, each community complete the online signing of no less than 2 new housing. The community is responsible for summarizing and reporting the residents' willingness to purchase houses to the Development Guarantee Center in a timely manner. The notice also requires that any person who maliciously refuses to buy a house, if found to have a large amount of deposit in their bank, will be called in for a talk. The project is included in the 2022 Annual Community Work Assessment. The phrase malicious non-buying once again shocks the people. The problem behind the strange tactics of the real estate developers and the government's promotion reflects the slump in the Chinese real estate market and the high inventory of the property market. From January to May of this year, new housing transactions in many cities fell by more than 50% year-on-year, both in terms of single-month data and cumulative monthly data. From April 1st to June 15th, the total transaction area in 30 major cities fell by 47.3% year-on-year. At the same time, China's property market is facing another era of high inventory. According to China's National Bureau of Statistics, as of the end of May this year, the area of housing for sale nationwide was 554 million square meters. Calculated based on the per capita housing construction area of 39.8 square meters, the existing housing area for sale is enough for 14 million people to live in. And because local governments are still vigorously selling land, China's generalized inventory of housing, referring to the sum of saleable houses and residential land construction, has reached 3.84 billion square meters, enough to meet the housing needs of 96 million people. From the data, the current inventory of the property market in Fangchengguang, Guangxi Province takes 12.7 years to be consumed, and Harbin, Lianjiang, Changchun, Hohhot, and other cities have a depletion cycle or months of supply of more than 100 months, meaning that it takes 8 to 10 years to sell out all of the existing inventory. Although many cities have recently introduced policies to loosen the real estate market, the effect of going to the inventory is not satisfactory. In Zhengzhou, for example, since April, the relaxation of restrictions on purchase and sale, subsidies, and other favorable policies have been introduced frequently, but the average rate of project realization is only 18%, the second lowest single month in the past 5 years. The property market boost is far less effective than expected. The high inventory not only makes developers have capital turnover difficulties, more frequent debt defaults, but also makes the local government, which relies heavily on land sales revenue, unable to continue to use this method to maintain fiscal revenue. The authorities' ongoing policy of zeroing out the virus has led to the closure of many small and medium-sized enterprises, an economic downturn, a sharp drop in government tax revenue, and huge expenditures on COVID prevention, which puts local finances in a difficult position. As we all know, the best way to remove inventory is to reduce the price, but the price reduction will also bring a lot of problems. In order to prevent a sharp fall in housing prices, a number of cities have recently issued a property market decrease limit order, requiring housing prices to fall by no more than 15%. Under the administrative intervention of the authorities, real estate companies are in a dilemma. Chen Lei, a senior real estate commentator, said, "In recent years, the real estate market has slowed down, and developers need quick cash returns. The best way for returns is to reduce the price, but price cuts will lead to a series of problems, such as the protection of the rights of owners who bought houses at higher prices in the earlier stage, so the price can only be reduced in a disguised form through other methods." Henan Jianye's garlic for housing marketing strategy is actually very successful. There is data circulating on the internet that shows from May 22nd to June 6th, Jianye residential project received 2,859 groups of inquiries, 852 groups of visits, and sold 30 units. According to the salesperson of the property, this promotion is actually a housing subsidy activity that uses garlic to attract attention, and the buyers who enjoy the discount do not need to grow garlic or even be farmers. In fact, the so-called wheat for housing and watermelon for housing by developers are a kind of disguised price reduction activity to circumvent the policy, which also reflects the mindset of real estate enterprises urgently needing to recoup funds. According to a report by China's Daily Economic News on June 24th, Zhou Mingqi, founder of Jingjian think tank, said that the most difficult thing for real estate companies at the moment is to sell them. In the recent hotspot city of Zhengzhou, for example, a top 5 real estate executive said that it is difficult to sell even at a 30% discount of the initial cost of the house. The market has insufficient purchasing power, and the cash flow is seriously insufficient. So why are people not buying houses? In the past 2 decades, as long as there is money, buying a house has always been the first choice of Chinese people. But now, the situation seems to have changed. There are many signs that real estate is no longer the people's favorite. For the investors, they continue to be suppressed by the housing policy and restrictions on speculation, decreasing their incentive to buy properties. The policy side is only hoping for a recovery in property sales to boost consumption and hedge against the economic downturn, but does not want to support a return to rapid price increases. Since house prices will not rise rapidly, investment buyers will lack the motivation to buy houses. For those who just need a house, buying them is a need that can be postponed. When people are pessimistic about their income prospects, they tend to borrow less and save more, and rent instead of buying a home to avoid mortgage pressure. Secondly, most people prefer to buy low, and when they expect a wave of decline in housing prices, they tend to wait and hope to pick up a low price. As the growth rate of housing prices is much higher than the growth rate of residents' income in the past 10 years, it is difficult for the demand group to make enough down payment to afford the monthly mortgage. And now that there is an economic downturn, the number of unemployed people has increased dramatically. And most importantly, the middle and upper income groups have decreased. First, the education and training industry has been wiped out. Then came the layoffs of major tech employees. The continued withdrawal of foreign investment has caused many quality jobs to disappear. The zeroing out of the epidemic has caused a large number of small and medium businesses to go bankrupt, and now even civil servants have started to take pay cuts. At this time, even if the average consumer exhausts their family wealth to make a down payment, the pressure of monthly mortgage repayment is still a huge expense. Any unanticipated increase in cash outlay or decrease in cash inflow may lead to mortgage default. Recently, there have been many trending searches on mortgage payment failures due to unemployment on social media. In the face of this potential pressure, more and more of the demand group is afraid to buy a home, unwilling to put their families under enormous pressure to repay their mortgage, especially since the pandemic is still not over and there is still great uncertainty about job stability and income expectations. There are also many families who have the strength to buy a home and can afford the pressure of loan repayment, but with housing prices in second and third tier cities already declining, more people are expecting the housing prices to decrease further. The central bank survey shows that by the end of the first quarter of this year, only 16.3% of respondents expect housing prices to rise, with price confidence slipping to a new low in recent years. In addition, there are some medium and long-term factors to support the downward expectations of housing prices. First, the aging of the population is accelerating. By the end of 2021, China's population aged 60 and above will reach 267 million, accounting for 18.9%, up 5.2% from a decade ago. China's aging population is attributable to the low birth rate. That is, it is not that the elderly population have grown, but the younger population have shrank. Young people are the main force of home buying, and a decline in the proportion of young people will lead to a trend of shrinking demand for housing. Second, urbanization is slowing down. Over the past few decades, the rapid increase in China's urbanization rate has led to an acceleration in population movement, with housing prices trending upward in cities that have overall net population inflow. By the end of 2021, China's urbanization rate reached 64.72%, and the rapid increase is coming to an end, so the driving force on housing prices has weakened. Third, the property tax is expected to dampen the demand for multi-unit ownership. Although the various departments have made it clear that it is not a good time to introduce a property tax, it has become a public acknowledgement that a property tax will come sooner or later. Combined with the property tax rate of about 1 to 2% in developed countries in Europe and North America, the introduction of the property tax will effectively suppress the public's demand for second home ownership and fundamentally suppress housing prices. Faced with the above constraints, time seems to be on the side of home buyers who are willing to wait. That being the case, everyone is willing to wait, weakening the effect of short-term stimulus. There is also another reason, that is, buyers are worried about buying unfinished buildings. Since the Evergrande crisis, more than 10 companies have defaulted on their debts. Due to factors such as broken capital chains, resulting in some new homes under construction to stop, the chance of an unfinished building has increased. And with the economic downturn and slowdown, the real estate crisis is still intensifying. On June 20th, the shutdown of a so-called most educated property in Zhengzhou, Henan province, has aroused public concern. According to China News Weekly, the Yongwei Jinqiao Xitang residential project in Zhengzhou's high-tech zone attracted a large number of college staff and graduates from 4 universities within 4 kilometers of the surrounding area. According to some owners, there are 72 PhDs and 320 masters among the 1,057 owners. Among them, more than 80% have a bachelor's degree and above, and 20% of the owners enjoy the Zhengzhou's talent subsidy. In order to urge the housing enterprise to resume work, the owners formed a legal group, supervision group, video group, and repeatedly communicate and negotiate with the government department for real estate, and also set up social media and short video accounts and wrote nearly 70,000 words on the experience of buying a house. But to no avail, the construction of the building, which has been suspended for 7 months, has still not resumed. Information shows that the developer of the residential project is Zhengzhou Jinwei Industry. The reason for the unfinished business is that the funds in the project supervision account have been misappropriated by more than 1 billion yuan, and there is no money to start construction. However, despite the efforts of the owners to defend their rights, and even the intervention of the local government, there is no sign of the actual embezzler. The situation in Zhengzhou is very representative. Zhengzhou's reliance on real estate is the highest in China, accounting for 29% of its GDP, and nearly 80% of its fiscal revenue is from land sales. However, as of December 31st, 2021, more than 20% of the property developments in Zhengzhou City were either halted or left unfinished, with 25,000 unfinished units, accounting for 28% of the total number of new housing transactions in 2021, which is also the highest in China. In light of the above, China's real estate sector is in the midst of various crises. According to an opinion piece in China's Financial Times magazine, the judgment of China's real estate situation will determine whether the real estate sector should be slowly adjusted or immediately sent to the ICU. And if the ideal window for emergency treatment is missed, China's economy may deteriorate rapidly in a very short time. Now, the real estate sector has affected the financial system despite the central government's repeated emphasis on preventing systemic risk. The latest economic data shows that the possibility of systemic risk has increased, and the trigger point is the real estate sector.